Hello, everyone. My name is Caitlin, and I am the founder and host of the Spiritually Active podcast. I can't even really believe that I am saying that right now. I have been working on this podcast and have been wanting to put this message out there for so long. It's been living on my heart for years, and I finally feel like I am stepping into a place and I am ready to share this message, my voice, and my perspective with all of you. This podcast is a space for you, and I'll talk a little bit about what spiritually active means to me in just a minute. But for those of you that maybe are listening and don't know me personally, I want to tell you a little bit more about me. So, as I mentioned, my name is Caitlin. I grew up in Tucson, Arizona, and currently reside in Phoenix. So, I lived and been a desert baby for my entire life. Arizona has a very special place in my heart. And this year, I've had the opportunity to go on a ton of different adventures, both domestic and international travel, that have really opened up my heart and my mind to the concept of spirituality and what it means to be connected with your higher self. When I look back on the last couple of years, my connection with what I associate as universe source with my highest self has expanded immensely, and just created really beautiful connections in my life to practices that feel like they are just so familiar and make me feel at home in the depths of my soul. And I think that these practices have also enabled a ton of healing for me to do, and have attributed to a lot of the positive changes and opportunities that I've seen also very effortlessly come into my life. A lot of people don't talk about their spiritual side in a very serious manner. And at the end of the day, I don't think spirituality is something that needs to be taken super seriously. In general, as a society, I perceive that we take ourselves way too seriously all the time, myself included. Um, and that can be chalked up to a zillion things. Whether it's where you were raised, how you were raised, maybe even your astrology, your human design, all those fun personality tests and tools that we know and love. But at the end of the day, while it might not be serious, there's an air of respect that I think your spiritual connection so inherently is earned or earns, um, when you are open and you are honest and you are doing and making your best effort to connect with yourself and with others. I deeply believe that at the end of the day, as human beings, that's what we're here to do, is to deeply connect and to find a sense of grounding and rooting in all that we exist as in every season of our life. We are multifaceted, temporary beings, right? Everything around us is encapsulated in temporary nature and duality. And of course, that only enables us to open up and to further share kind of those different pieces, the maybe the shadow sides of our soul or the more sparkly, shiny sides of us, with others. And so when I think about my spiritual journey, I truly want to embody a life of connection and groundedness where my spiritual practices create the world as a playground where we all get to step into and live within our unique power. Spirituality oftentimes triggers the words shoulds or supposed to, or at least that I've heard. I should try breath work or meditation. I should probably go to yoga. I should invest in a book about astrology. I'm supposed to know these things. And that's not true. Shoulds and supposed tos evoke a connotation of obligation, of necessity. And what's beautiful to me about spirituality is that it's a choice. Healing is a choice. finding practices that deeply resonate with you and actually practicing them is a choice. And so I want this podcast to be about how you always have your back. You are the one person that you are so lucky to live with your entire life. So how can you open your heart to making those choices and finding practices, methodologies, modalities that speak to you and connect yourself with you? The idea for the Spiritually Active podcast came to me in the car. I always get my downloads when I'm driving my little Subaru around. I don't know why. I feel like it's a space for me where I'm kind of on autopilot, and it's the only time in my day where I truly let myself be focused on one thing most of the time. Sometimes I am a distracted driver, aren't we all? Um, but I feel like it's the one moment where my eyes are on the road. I've got both of my hands occupied. Music might be in the background, and my thoughts are just free to roam. And there was one day where I was driving and I was like, holy shit, I have to write this down. I'm going to grab my voice memo out and record myself speaking it out loud instead, because I don't have the opportunity to write this down right now. Spiritually active is a term that I like to use for myself when I describe my wellness, my health, and my being in the space and place that I'm in my life right now. Oftentimes, let's say, we go to the doctor a few times a year and they ask us a variety of questions to help determine how healthy are you as a human being. Those questions often entail, are you physically active? Do you exercise regularly? What things are you putting in your physical body? Another question might be, are you sexually active? Are you intimately involved with a partner? Are you feeling great emotionally? Do we need to examine some of those things at a broader level? But never have I personally been asked, are you spiritually active? What's your connection to source energy or yourself or your soul? And often I think we're sold, as I mentioned, like that physical experience is the only piece that makes us whole and makes us well. And while I believe, as a yoga teacher, as a fitness enthusiast, as someone who really enjoys movement, that the physical part of the puzzle is very important, it's not everything. And we can't stop the conversation at the physical. I think that takes away a lot of ways and methods in which we heal ourselves when maybe physical is not available to us, right? Um, and so spirituality and being spiritually active is often overlooked and something that might even be honestly a little bit taboo to people. Folks like to call me woo-woo and witchy, and I'm really enthusiastic about a variety of modalities. And I'm kind of the hippy dippy friend. And I'm the one that people call or text when like a sign populates in the universe and they're like, oh, I just saw 333, or oh my God, my grandma just came through. I saw a hummingbird fly past and it paused for a minute. And I am so glad that I'm that friend. Do not get me wrong. I also wish, in addition to me being that friend, that conversation was more broadly opened up and in the ether as something that we collectively connect to. I think it's a beautiful way to create community and just be a little bit more in our own energy more regularly. And so when I think about being spiritually active, it's not only about, connecting with others, but it's also about being able to turn inward and sit with your thoughts or emotion and find that connection and kind of know what makes you tick so that you can continue to heal the wounds that you might carry in this lifetime, to support yourself in a challenging season, to trust your intuition and that kind of mind's eye knowing that you create your reality and what's ahead. On this podcast, I ultimately hope that you're exploring spirituality or want to learn more and educate yourself. I plan to have people on this podcast who are, near and dear friends of mine who display beautiful ways to connect with themselves and to find connection with others. And my hope is that we can dispel the idea that together, or my hope is that together we can dispel the idea that spirituality is a one-dimensional experience. You can only be interested in tarot, yoga, sound healing, fitness, and whatever movement your body calls to. Maybe it's psychedelics and plant medicine. Maybe it's Ayurveda or just eating, right? Maybe it is, once again, that physical experience. Maybe it's faith, right? Maybe, more organized religion really calls to you too. Those things are all beautiful and they can all exist at the same time. We are so multifaceted and there are so many different ways that we can, quote unquote, do the work to go deep and answer some of the bigger life questions that we as humans inherently ask ourselves and sometimes ask each other. Why are we here? What is my purpose? When am I going to find it? Is it a big calling? Is it a little calling? Like, just what the heck? What the heck am I doing here? And so I want to open up this ether, this space, this container for others to share that you can be a Christian and absolutely admire and adore some more Eastern philosophy and religious methodologies. You can be totally witchy and have a cauldron and also really love to go lift weights at the gym. You can listen to podcasts all day or maybe sit in silence. And so I really want the message of Spiritually Active in this podcast to be that spirituality, how many times have I said that word? The message is that spirituality is customizable and it is yours. We as humans have no idea what the heck we're doing. Nobody does. So just friendly reminder that we're all out here figuring it out as we go. Everyone's on their own path and making the choices to get to the next kind of fork in their road, right? But these questions of why, how, who, when, and the tools that we have available to us open up all sorts of ways that we can find answers that hold weight for us, that release the judgment of trying to feel like we have to figure it out and getting more comfortable with maybe knowing that we're never going to know everything, and that's okay. But I have full faith and trust in my values, my beliefs, myself, and whatever entities that surround me, God, universe, energy, angels, whatever you want to call it, that can really help us find the answers. And so remember that your own spiritual practices, whatever they might be, and maybe they're not spiritual to you, maybe they're just living life. I think we discredit ourselves sometimes as spiritual beings, but we are indeed spiritual beings having a human experience, not the other way around. Your practices are your unique expression of your soul and how your soul is processing this human experience, right? Go find the things that speak to you. Go listen to the nudges that you're getting to explore, to learn, to grow, to heal. Oftentimes I find myself getting little nudges. For me, they look like little butterflies in my tummy or a quick burst of energy to go do something or hear something or say something. And I want you to listen to those. And maybe this podcast is you're listening to it right now because it was meant to find you and a message that maybe you needed to hear today and fully receive. Tap into your intuition and trust yourself, because while there might exist a lot of doubt in our hearts of what's the right thing for me? What's the right choice I need to make? Career path, those bigger, broader questions that I mentioned we're constantly asking ourselves. Know that you know inherently exactly what the answers are. The tools, the methodologies, the modalities that are available to us right here and now in this present moment are simply tools. And they are not going to solve everything. They're not going to heal every wound, but they are going to open the door for you to trust yourself to do that for you. So, this podcast is here for you. I am so excited to create a space to explore what spirituality means in the hopes that you find exactly what you're looking for and find a deeper connection with yourself and with others. I think we all have beautiful and very unique perspectives and abilities in this life. And so I want this to be a space for us to open our hearts and celebrate ourselves in the ones that we are gifted with. And just find enjoyment and excitement and enthusiasm in the very simplicities that life has to offer, the tools that are available to us to support our human experience, our emotions and feelings, our soul's deeper purpose, and our physical bodies as well. So I encourage you to be seen in all the woo-woo that you are, whether you're just starting out or you are all the way at the other end of the spectrum. There is a knowing within you that is far greater than you can ever imagine. We all have gifts and abilities. We all have an inner knowing, this understanding, and the human experience facilitates that. And so as we move through this podcast together, I invite you to reflect on where in your life do you feel small, and where can you shift into feeling big? Oftentimes for me, I think about, my career is my financial stability, and I can't bring my cosmic self there. And, I work in financial services. So that's like an environment that oftentimes historically is more rigid, right? But corporate life can make you feel that way sometimes. Maybe you're in a season where change is just happening over and over again. Some welcome, some not. Maybe you feel the opposite and you're very static in where you're at, and you just want a moment to breathe. Maybe you feel stuck and stuffed. And so I would love for this podcast and for the messages shared here by myself and my guests to be the light to shine in those dark places and find where you feel small and encourage you to feel big, to grow into your energy, to step into your light, and to consistently be there. That is something that for so long and still today I am challenged with and I am working on actively. And I think just by sharing my voice here in this moment, I already feel more connected to whatever that at-large purpose for me is. It makes me feel really big when sometimes, we're a speck, right? I feel so honored to share this message with you and hope that you will join in on this journey with me. I have, like I said, so many people and incredible guests that are near and dear to my heart that have beautiful ways of thinking about the world, about the universe, about their connection with self. And I am so excited to share that with you. So thank you. Much gratitude for being here. And I'll see you very, very soon. Mwah.